My name is Grace Miller, and I am here to share an experience that changed everything I thought I knew about life, death, and the existence of spiritual beings. What I experienced went beyond a simple near-death experience. It was a revelation that brought me answers to questions that had always intrigued me. As I narrate my story, I hope you feel the same depth of emotion and understanding that I felt while living it. It was a typical and wonderful spring day. The sky was clear, and the scent of flowers filled the air. I was on my way to my grandson Joshua's 5th birthday party. Everything seemed perfect. I was happy and grateful to be able to share this moment with my family. The birthday cake was carefully placed on the back seat of the car, and soft music was playing on the radio. I felt blessed to be alive to see another milestone in my grandchildren's lives. Without warning, a truck suddenly appeared. The sound of screeching tires was the last thing I heard before the impact. The doctors later told my family that I was clinically dead for 12 minutes and 45 seconds. During that time, I experienced something that cannot be described as a dream or hallucination. It was more real than anything I have ever experienced in my 65 years of life. This experience brought me a profound understanding that I feel compelled to share with the world. When everything happened, I felt an absolute silence, a silence that was not simply the absence of sound, but as if the very concept of sound had never existed. I remember floating in a vast space filled with an incredible light, a light that did not blind but seemed to envelop me in pure love and peace. This light had a consciousness of its own, something that transcends any earthly description. As I tried to understand where I was, I felt the presence of an entity beside me. When I turned, although not physically, I realized I was facing a being of light. This being was not just any angel or messenger. It seemed to know all my thoughts and feelings before I could express them. The communication between us was not through words but through pure and direct understanding. "Grace," said the being, although not in words, "you have questions about why some of us see and others do not." At that moment, I realized that this was a question I had unconsciously always asked. Why do some people have profound spiritual experiences while others seem to live without any glimpse of the divine? The answer I received transformed my perspective forever. The being of light gestured, and suddenly we began to move through different layers of reality. Each layer revealed something new about the nature of spiritual vision and understanding. I was shown the vastness of interconnected souls, each vibrating at a unique frequency, like musical notes in an infinite symphony. This was just the beginning of a journey that would change my life forever. As I watched, I realized that these answers to prayers did not always manifest in the way we expected. Often, what seemed like silence or absence of response was actually a form of protection or subtle guidance. I saw people in moments of despair who, without knowing, were being surrounded by angels, receiving invisible strength to continue. The being of light then showed me how spiritual experiences vary from person to person. Some people are blessed with visions and heavenly encounters not because they are more special, but because they have a specific role to play in strengthening the faith of others. These gifts are given as a means of testimony to bring hope and encouragement to those in need. I began to understand that modern life, with all its distractions and noise, often creates a kind of spiritual static. This interference makes it more difficult for people to perceive the work of angels and the divine presence around them. However, even in the noisiest moments, God's love and the activity of angels never cease. The being of light taught me that simple acts of kindness, moments of silent prayer, and the decision to trust in God despite difficulties help tune our spiritual senses. It's like adjusting the dial of a radio to pick up a broadcasting station that has always been there, but we need to tune our hearts and minds to hear it. I was shown that those who have near-death experiences and return with stories to tell have a specific purpose. These experiences are carefully orchestrated within God's great plan to inspire, comfort, and transform lives. Each spiritual journey is unique, and these revelations are divine gifts to guide both the individual and others. The being of light reminded me of the importance of sharing these revelations with others. He told me that each person has their own journey to discover spiritual vision, and that we must trust in God's perfect timing for each soul. With these words, I felt a force pulling me back to my body, and I knew that my mission was to bring this message of love, hope, and faith to the world. The being of light reminded me of the importance of sharing these revelations with others. He told me that each person has their own journey to discover spiritual vision, and that we must trust in God's perfect timing for each soul. With these words, I felt a force pulling me back to my body, and I knew that my mission was to bring this message of love, hope, and faith to the world. From that moment on, my life would never be the same. When I woke up, surrounded by doctors and my family, I felt a clarity and peace that I had never experienced before. I knew I had a responsibility, a mission given by the universe itself to share the revelations that had been entrusted to me. It was as if a new chapter of my life was beginning, a chapter where my own experience would serve to illuminate the path for others. As I recovered from the accident, I began to reflect on the visions I had and how I could best share them. I thought about all the people who go through life without noticing the constant presence of angels around them, offering silent support. I decided it was my mission to bring this message of hope so that everyone would know they are never alone, even in the most challenging moments. I started writing about my experience, trying to capture every detail as accurately as possible. I wanted my words to convey the depth of love and peace I felt in that space of light. As I wrote, I realized that my story was not just about me, but about all of us. We all have a unique spiritual journey, and each of us can benefit from knowing that we are constantly guided and protected. During this process, I found a new community of people who had also experienced transformative spiritual experiences. Sharing our stories was a source of great comfort and encouragement. Together, we learned that these experiences are not meant to make us feel special, but to remind us of the constant presence of the divine in our lives and to inspire others to seek a deeper connection with the spiritual. I organized meetings and lectures to share my story with others. Each session was an opportunity to touch hearts and offer comfort to those who felt lost or helpless. The response was overwhelmingly positive, with many people reporting that they felt comforted and inspired to seek a deeper connection with God and the angels that surround us. I realized that my mission was not just to tell my story, but also to listen and help others recognize and value their own spiritual journeys. Every time I shared my experience, I felt that I was fulfilling a greater purpose, helping to weave the tapestry of our lives with threads of faith, hope, and love. And so, I continued to spread the message that whether or not we can see the angels, they are always with us, guiding us with love and wisdom. In each lecture, meeting, or conversation, I focused on creating a space where people felt comfortable sharing their own experiences and questions. I learned the importance of listening attentively, of being a channel of comfort and encouragement for those seeking to understand the divine. I often saw how personal stories and simple acts of kindness could ignite the spark of faith in disheartened hearts. The stories I heard were as diverse as the souls who shared them. Each story was a reminder that each individual's spiritual path is unique and precious. Some people reported encounters with beings of light in moments of great need, while others spoke of subtle signs of divine guidance that helped them overcome daily challenges. The connection between our journeys became increasingly evident, reinforcing the web of love and purpose that unites us. As I delved deeper into the stories of others, I began to notice patterns and common themes. Many people shared feelings of loneliness and helplessness, especially in times of crisis. It was moving to see how revelations about the constant presence of angels could transform these emotions, bringing peace and a renewed sense of hope. My heart was filled with gratitude for being able to be an instrument of comfort and inspiration. One of the most impactful moments was when a young woman, visibly shaken, came to me after a lecture. She spoke about the recent loss of a loved one and how she felt abandoned and helpless. I shared with her what I had learned, that angels are always present, even when we do not see them, and that the souls of our loved ones continue to guide and protect us. Upon hearing this, she began to cry, but her eyes also sparkled with a new understanding and comfort. Through these interactions, I realized that my mission extended beyond simply sharing my own story. It was about creating a support community where people could find strength in each other's experiences. I organized prayer and meditation groups, where each participant could feel the presence of the divine and strengthen their spiritual connection. These moments of unity were profoundly transformative, both for me and for those who participated. Over time, I saw many lives being transformed. People who once felt lost found new purpose and direction. Each testimony of overcoming and renewed faith was a reminder of the immeasurable power of divine love. It became evident that, regardless of our circumstances, there is always an invisible hand guiding and protecting us. This understanding brought a new depth to my own faith and an even greater determination to continue my mission. Finally, I understood that my journey was just a small part of something much greater. We are all part of a grand divine plan, where every act of kindness and every prayer contributes to the greater good. Sharing my experiences and hearing those of others enriched my life in ways I never imagined. And so, with gratitude and humility, I continued to spread the message of love, faith, and hope, knowing that together, we are all weaving the tapestry of the divine.